Getting ready for the second half here at Riverfront Stadium, and that year-long training and playing and working toward getting to the playoffs. And when they initiated, not the way it was in your day, Merlin Olsen, where you also earned home field advantage. How important that is. Cincinnati is going to have home field if they continue what they're doing here today.
Well, and I think the thing that's important there is that home field advantage is even greater in the playoffs than it is during the regular season. This crowd, so very vocal during the year, has been even more vocal today. They've had a real impact on Dave Krieg and the Seattle offense, making it difficult for them to call their plays. And the other thing we have to be aware of, Dick, is it's going to get much colder before this game is over. And I think it's more difficult to come back on a cold day. There's so much want to in a game like this. And when you're feeling discouraged and nothing is going your way, it makes it awfully difficult.
Well, Seattle will get the ball first. We talked about the fact, and Don Shula did, that they're going to have to pass. Cincinnati knows that. But sometimes in that so-called prevent defense, you sometimes prevent yourself an easy win, too.
I don't think you'll see Cincinnati pull their horns back in. Dick LeBeau, their defensive coordinator, I think will come out and do exactly what he's done in the early part of this game. But Knox is going to have to cut it loose. He did that, and they did that last week against the Los Angeles Raiders. They pulled out all the stops, reverses, the tricks, and all the gimmicks out of the bag. I think that's what we're going to see here in the second half.
And this second half kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Lee Johnson will kick it to the rookie Holman and the veteran Edmonds. And the Cincinnati crowd with a 21-0 lead, enjoying it all. Edmonds into his own end zone. This time he'll take the touchback at the 20-yard line. As we look at the first half statistics, a reminder that Seattle 4 times this year rushed for less than 100 yards and lost all 4 games. They weren't even close. In fact, they didn't gain a yard rushing in the first half. Apparently we're having trouble with our graphic system, so we can't show you the first half statistics. Let's see if we can show you what happened on first down in the first half. 1.4 yards. That's everything, rushing and passing, to 7-4 for the Bengals. Well, you don't need to have much more than that.
That's not a fair division of the football, I can tell you that.
Craig to the sidelines, and it's the rookie Brian Blades who slips away and out to the 35-yard line, and a gain of 15. That'll bring a few cheers from his younger brother Benny. The 22-year-old defensive back was picked first by the Lions last year. Brian went in the second round to Seattle. They like him a lot.
We understand that Steve Largent, along with foot problems and thumb problems, now has a lower back problem. You see him trying to loosen that back up.
First down, Seahawks at their 35-yard line. A fake toss to Warner, and a throwback is the call. Now he has to throw to Warner. He was the second option. He looked to the left, and all he saw were offensive linemen. There were 3 out there. It would have been a great play if you'd had a receiver with him. But apparently the receiver had been knocked down. He had to go back to Warner.
Dave Krieg is most effective, Dick, when he can run play-action passes. When the running game is rolling, it just really makes it a lot easier for him. He is not the kind of quarterback that can go back there in must-pass situations and pick out those second and third receivers comfortably.
A loss of a yard on the pin. Now, there are the first half statistics. Did you get it all, Merlin?
I know they were very one-sided for Cincinnati. I can tell you that without looking.
We'll give you a second look at it after this play. Craig to Blades. He's got his man beaten, and he's got the ball. No, incomplete at the 30-yard line. Lewis Billups able to close and make it tough. Almost a 35-yard gain.
In isolation, you see the excellent speed of Blades. That ball underthrown as Blades had been able to beat Billups down the sideline. But Billups getting there as that ball just forced Blades to break stride, and it breaks free.
Actually, a catchable ball. It was there.
Oh, that's the toughest catch in the world, though. Over the head.
Another long throw to Blades. Too long this time. He had beaten Eric Thomas. No, that's Ricky Dixon on the corner. Reggie Williams, the councilman. He was one of 6 who played on that 81 season team that went into the 82 Super Bowl for Cincinnati, only to lose to the 49ers up in Pontiac. And Ruben Rodriguez gets another chance to punt. Hillary, remember, muffed the last one. He's back at the 20. Rodriguez is kicked very efficiently, and a fair catch at the 21. A flag is down. A 44-yard punt, but ineligible man downfield.
They're going to take it back. Sam White says that's a great kick. I don't think he can do it again. They were also very close to being into where they could touch that football and block it. Weiss really challenging it, and it's all right. You know, that's the kind of confidence that he has.
By the kicker's number 52, it'll still be 4th down.
There's the pressure right there, going for the point in front of the kicker, which is the blocking spot. Of course, you're seeing it in slow motion there, but
tight end Jim Riggs was the man in.
In full speed motion, he was very close to the place where he could have gotten a hand on that football.
Again, Rodriguez. Bengals, well, they're putting on a good rush. They're not careless about it. They know that Seattle, it's a time where a fake punt, they might try anything. They don't want to give them a wide open shot. This kick is shorter, but takes a bounce and will go out of bounds at the 25-yard line. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, now we will show you the halftime statistics.
Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that you look down the left-hand column, you're not going to find anything to make Chuck Knox or his Seahawks happy. 2 turnovers, very little yardage, and possession time 2-1 for the Bengals. Boy, that's domination of the kind that will get you a huge score on your side of the scoreboard.
And the Bengals, if they match their first half rushing statistics, will have something like 340 yards in the ground.
We talked about the ability or the inability of either of these teams to stop the running game, but it's the Bengals who stepped forward defensively, and they are the ones who shut down the running game of Seattle. And at the same time, Seattle has not been able to even come up to their average on the day. Ickey Woods, I thought Ickey might change those football pants at the half. Somebody stepped on his right hip, and it's got to be a little chilly down there. Those are Breech.
Jacob Green stuffing Brooks for a 2-yard loss on the first carry. Moore skips that one through the defense. Eddie Brown was the closest Bengal. And down goes Joe Nash again.
Well, it's that trick knee. And Sam, as much as Sam wants to complain, I got to be able to say, Sam, you push the rules and take advantage of them too.
They're taking away Matoy.
He's taking away. That's interesting.
And a timeout. Injury timeout. 13:25 left in the third.
Oh, Harold, it's lovely.
Today's game is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. By Gillette and the Gillette Atra Plus shaving system. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by AT&T, the right choice.
A time of reflection and of hope. New Year's Eve, 1988, and for the Bengals trying to finish off a great football year and look ahead to a Super Bowl opportunity. Esiason on 3rd and 13. Melvin Jenkins breaks up the toss to Collinsworth, and the Bengals will have to punt.
One of the things that Boomer Esiason has done so well during this year is to control himself in the pocket. The ability to drop back and sift in that pocket. Watch what happens here. as the two guards are going to push both of these tackles to the outside, and Esiason is going to wait here, and then step up into the pocket to throw that pass. Well, no chance to show it. Maybe we can do it later.
Bengals wasting no time even in punt formation. Johnson spins one out there left-footed to Bobby Joe Edmonds. That one won't count anyway. A flag is thrown against M.L. Johnson. He thought he had his head in front, but the call will go against him.
I think someone is going to say, yes, he had his head in front. They may eat that flag.
Yeah, this is something that we applaud. The fact that officials 10 years ago they didn't do this. If the call was made, it stuck, even though another official might say, listen, I had a different angle.
I don't think they're talking about where they're going to eat tonight. I think they're honestly talking about where the head was on that block. And they're going to say it was not a legal block. Well, okay. But I know that was what the conversation was about anyway.
Illegal block during the run back. Number 52 of the receivers. It'll be first down at 10.
It was Johnson. You saw it clearly. He was the first man down to try to help out Edmonds. It'll be Seattle's ball. First down at their 25 when we return. 13 minutes left in the third.
Here's what the debate was about between the officials as we allow this to stop it right there. Now you can see that the force of the impact is here, but the head is behind Ed Brady. And M.L. Johnson, as he goes with the head behind, there's no way that the official cannot target him with a yellow flag. And even though he hit him on the front of the shoulder, he slid around the back and he gets the penalty.
Cincinnati in command. Seattle trying to muster something. Warner. Gains 2 or 3 is all. Behind Brian Millard. Steve Largent with his injury troubles. And we'll watch to see whether or not Seahawks will be denied their all-time wide receiver. You see Lewis Clark in there now, number 84. There's Largent on the sidelines. He says he won't make the official decision on retirement until next spring, when all the emotions of this year have been well cleared. 2nd and 8 for Craig. Just got it there in time to Brian Blades. It'll be good enough for a first down in front of Lewis Billups. Well, that was a good call because he had gotten by Billups in the last sequence, so he gave him the deep move and then pulled up underneath to make the catch.
I think one of the things that will be said if this game continues on its present track, and if the Seahawks are eliminated from the playoffs, how much different it could have been had this game been played in their home stadium in the Kingdom. But you do earn the right to play these games at home, and you can sense the advantage it's given the Bengals here today.
On the draw, Warner. It just doesn't appear he has that burst that we know Kurt Warner. He had the hole in an opening, couldn't cut it loose. And he's out to the 42 or 3 short gain. Eric Thomas, another tackle for this second-year player from Tulane.
Look at this. Very interesting. Look at the low stance here by Crumry. How far his feet are spread apart. A most interesting stance. And on this play, Blair Bush is going to be injured, number 59. And it looks like Edwin Bailey, number 65, fell across the back of his legs. And, of course, that takes your starting center out of the ball game. A starting center who has got his hands full already with Tim Crumry. Well, I tell you, you got to have tremendous leg strength to get out of that stance, let alone play out of it.
Grant Fiesel is in there at center now. Oh, wide open is John L. Williams. No one picked him up out of the backfield, and he's all the way down to the Cincinnati 35-yard line before Solomon Wilcox could bump him out of bounds. 23-yard gain for Williams as they picked up the blitz, and there was no one over there to pick up Williams.
Coming right at you, just a little play action fake. Well, somebody just bit on that one. 51, Leon
White came from the other side of the field. It was Fulcher, the safety, who was on the blitz.
Yeah.
Krieg throws it away. He was looking for Blades deep, but Blades made his break underneath to the sidelines. And he and his wide receiver will have a little communication now as in comes John Spagnuolo.
So many of the patterns require both quarterback and wide receiver to read the defense. And obviously both read a different defense on that particular play. And Cincinnati does some things defensively that will confuse a quarterback. They give you one look, and then they'll change that defense at the last possible second.
Williams. The 11 yards on the sack, the first of the game.
An accidental stunt, if you will. You'll watch Tim Crumry coming inside here. He'll end up tying up these two people, and Reggie Williams will drift over and then make the sack up in here. An accidental stunt just works perfectly right there. Crumry taking two blockers, and Williams breaking loose after the contact.
But it's again Crumry occupying two men almost every play, and two men not doing a very good job of stopping him. 3rd and 21. Oh, through the hands, and a flag will go down. Brian Blades, and apparently interference called against Cincinnati. I didn't see that one. That was Krieg really throwing up a prayer because the man was well covered.
Pass interference, number 22 on the defense. First down.
That is the first penalty against the Bengals all day.
Eric Thomas, who's had such an outstanding year, you get the bumps, and there's no question about it. The hand on the stomach and the push at the last second. Well, they allow the incidental bumps, but if you push the man away, they will throw the flag.
Looks like the ball hit Blades right in the face mask.
I don't think Blades really expected that ball to arrive when it did.
I think the fans are booing because it appeared, even with a replay, he wouldn't have caught it even had he not been pushed. But the point is that Thomas did have a hand on it.
And it was a catchable ball.
It was.
You see right there the push that directed him away, and it did change his momentum and change his pattern, and by the rules, that is interference.
Pretty accurate pass, wasn't it?
You're glad you got a face mask on when you catch one like that.
First down at the 21. The second time Seattle's been down there today. They fumbled on the 5 the other. And this man is the one who coughed it up, John L. Williams, a reliable fullback who gets 2 off the right side. Jason Buck, the young defensive end, and Carl Zander, linebacker from Tennessee, made the stop.
You look at this Cincinnati defense, you find a lot of players on the upswing getting better. Jason Buck is one of them, getting good pressure on the quarterback, doing better at the point of attack. Leon White is another. Fulcher and Wilcox and Thomas, Phillips, all improving in the way they play this game.
Sam White cheerleading on the sidelines, telling the crowd to get into it. He's trying to get them to make as much noise as possible. Williams, short pass. Boy, look at him fight loose. And I believe he has a first down at the 11-yard line. He ran through 3 tacklers before they're able to get him.
That was the use of that powerful stiff arm. John L. Williams has hands as big as mine and arms
as big as yours,
longer than mine. Now watch him use the stiff arm here. As he comes up, they've got great position for tackling, but he's just going to use that big, powerful arm. Watch it right there. Here it comes now. That's Zander. He just sticks that arm right in Zander's face and drops him to the ground, and then with his strong legs, pulls down that sideline. Boy, that is outstanding play by John L. Williams.
If you're going to open up the book on football and they define a fullback run, that might be it.
That would be it. And a stiff arm. That was indeed a stiff arm.
Well, that's a succession of great number 1 running backs out of Florida. John L. Williams, Lorenzo Hampton, James Jones, who went to Detroit. Anderson up at Chicago, Neil Anderson. He's comfortably watching this one. One of the big 3 wins in the playoffs. Tucked away for the Bears. down. Krieg looking for 6. Ooh. Did he get it? No signal yet. The officials looking at each other. No one has signaled.
No one still has signaled. It looked like
incomplete.
They're saying the ball bounced off the ground.
This is remindful of a few years ago in Pittsburgh where they all looked at each other and Renfro didn't get the catch.
Leon White, the linebacker, looked to have maybe gotten a hand on it. There's White, number 51, diving. I think it's a reception, Dick. I think it's a reception, unless it hits the ground. Unless it hits the ground, it hits the receiver, definitely. The receiver gets it into his hands right there.
And the official is right there looking at it.
Oh, he does. Okay. He's got great position on it. He does have great position on it. Let's look at this angle.
This should tell us. He gets it cradled, but we can't, well, then we're blocked by White himself. Here's the reverse angle. Well, that's one thing the instant replay has done. Boys, it created a market for instant replay machines.
Well, I agree with the call there. Tony Viteri in the replay booth has to be able to see something that would allow him to change that call around, to switch the call around. Can't be done in that situation because you really can't see it from the angles we gave you. And the official on the field, who had a great shot of it, was able to look at that play in live action. Here's another angle.
This is the 5th angle, and you can't really tell.
Those are 5. Now, that just, you don't see it. You can't tell.
And the man with the best view is the man who called it, the official on the spot. And I would just soon go with that. See, if you see that call replay and there wasn't the official in the replay booth, you just accept and you go on with the game. What has happened with the instant replay, we're getting these delays, trying to sort it out and make it perfect. And this is why I object to the instant replay. I hope it's part of the history of 1988. We start afresh at 89.
Well, there's a man who
likes it.
Likes the replay. You see how that's the best angle that we're able to give you.
But there wasn't a, you know, even the way he called it, it wasn't that definitive.
The replay official, the play stands. Second down.
Okay, had there not been a replay, that's how it would have been called anyway.
Knox is saying, hey, my guys are getting cold out there. If you're not going to give us the TD, at least let us go for it again.
He's a strong proponent for the instant replay. Second down. They're all coming. The throw to Blades. Great play by Billups. Louis Billups. He's a man who wears the enemy T-shirt under his uniform before every game. I don't know if he's got a Seahawks on now, but, oh, he was right with one.
Good pickup by Kurt Warner of the blitzing Solomon Wilcott, number 41. But that is blanket coverage on the man-to-man by Billups.
3rd and 10. Underneath to Butler, stopped short of the first down. It'll be 4th and about 2.
And a tough call for Knox. You go for the touchdown here?
Yes. 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd, down by 3.
Well, and maybe you elect to get something on the board. They're asking now how much distance is it?
Oh, he's going to go for the field goal.
No. He's putting the big boys on the field. Putting his short yardage team on the field.
So this is it. Knox figuring the way things are going, a 3-pointer isn't going to do it. He needs to give his team a boost.
I think he's right.
Warner and Williams, and now Cincinnati calls timeout. And Seattle will welcome that.
I think they got too many men on the field.
Because the clock was already down to 3 seconds.
Well, they only had 11.
So Sam White saying, come on over. White has been using that same motion to get the cheering going. We'll be right back.
From now on, this is what dry is. Dry is a beer that starts bold from the first taste, finishes clean with no aftertaste, and refreshes completely. dry as a beer called Michelob Dry. One taste, and you'll drink it dry.
We're back with another test of Chevy versus Ford. And this one you can do at home. Just load both trucks with eggs and lower something heavy down on them. You'll see that Chevy has these notches that let you do double-deck loading. You'll see that Ford doesn't have any notches. That's why we've had a change of heart about pickups. With Ford, you can bring home the bacon. With Chevy, you can bring home the bacon and the eggs.
The heartbeat of America, that's the Dave Chevy truck.
You know we're gonna be there, don't think twice. Service is part of our name. We're a part of your country, a part of your town, and no one else does it the same. We deliver, we deliver. It's the reason you trust us. You know that we're gonna come through. We're your postal service. We deliver for you. We deliver for you.
Sunday on the network of the Super Bowl.
Well, the Bills last in the playoff when Chuck Knox was their coach, and they were beaten here in Cincinnati in that 1981 season, the 82 Super Bowl playoffs. 4th and 2. Intercepted and then dropped. But the Bengals take over on downs. Horton, 29 Dixon right there on the coverage. Boy, it went right through Ray Horton's hands and then right off the chest of Blades.
Very, very difficult to adjust to a football that has been touched by a defender and is traveling at that speed. Knox had sent in a running play, changed his mind, put 4 wide receivers on the field, but comes away empty.
Oh, you talked about the defense. One would rise today, and Cincinnati's offense impressive. We expected that, but the defense has been the equal. Ickey with about 8 more. And the Bengal bench love that 4th down play.
Now the Bengals talk about 2 goal line stands in their first game against Phoenix. 1 on the first series of that game and 1 on the last series, as really setting the tempo for their season. And White's saying again, we've done it again. Boy, their defense has risen to the occasion today.
Plenty of time in the 3rd quarter, 7 minutes, 20 seconds. So a Seattle touchdown there would have given them reasonable hope. And that emotional momentum swings back to Cincinnati. And Ickey Woods slamming out to the 15 and a first down.
Dick, some of the seeds for this kind of play by Cincinnati sown before the season started. Way back at the owners' meeting in Phoenix, as Boomer Esiason sat down with owner Paul Brown and Mike Brown and Sam White and buried the hatchet. This team was hurt so badly by the strike last year. The team torn apart. Boomer Esiason, the player rep, a strong player side. Sam White's the coach on the owner's side, and boy, things really popped around here. That was the first act that needed to happen to get this team back together.
And Boomer paid his own way to Arizona to have that conference. Wide open is Holman, and the tight end has a first down at the 39. Well, we saw him block, and he's got the speed to get open downfield. 6'3", 238-pounder. His cousin, Preston Pearson, you played against with Pittsburgh and Dallas.
Certainly did. I'll tell you, what a fine play there. And again, we talk about the time that Esiason is getting to throw that football. Strong quarterback, reads his receivers well. He doesn't have to read that one too well. There's all kinds of room on that throw.
Woods hiding behind that big line and just easing his way outside for 7 or 8 yards. There's Paul Brown on the left. The venerable coach. Oh, he sure doesn't look 80 years old. He still runs or hikes his own way out of La Jolla and loves his golf game. And One of the masterminds of football going back to the days, Massillon, Ohio, Great Lakes, Naval Base, the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals.
I can remember wondering when I first came into football, why he sent the plays on with those guards. Why didn't he let the quarterbacks call them like everybody else? Well, he was just ahead of his time, wasn't he?
Second and short. And Wilson, who has a couple of touchdowns in the first half, has a first down in Seattle territory at the 48.
Dick, there's another chapter to what happened at the beginning of this season that was very important to Cincinnati's reversal and their turnaround. And that was that Sam White realized that this was a team that had been divided by that strike. He needed to get them back together. In training camp, he shuffled the rooming assignments. He divided the players, offense and defense. He just jammed them together. Black and white, he didn't care. He said, you're not going to room the way you have in the past. We're going to get to know each other. And a lot of the players credit that with bringing this team together.
To the 44-yard line. Joe Nash made the tackle. His knee seems to be better now. 21-0. Cincinnati leads. Seattle's had a couple of chances. Fumbled once in the 5 and stopped the second time on the 3. And running the football. Look, the vines in the jungle have caught the Seahawks, and the Bengals running free. Running game and defense, playoffs. Important part of the mix. Fake reverse. Brooks keeps it to the 41-yard line, almost the 40. That'll be short of a first down by about 2. Darren Como and Paul Moyer on the tackle.
Dick, we've talked about Joe Walter's injury last week and the fact that he was operated on Thursday. He said he spent 3.5 hours in a locker room, and a chance, of course, that he is going to be able to come back and play, but it's going to be a while. Now, there are his mates. They miss him sorely. Munoz coming across from the other side. He plays the other tackle. They were talking about wishing him the best and quickest recovery possible from that very severe knee operation.
Passes to the tight end Riggs, and he's knifed down right at the yardsticks, the 38-yard line, by Eugene Robinson. Robinson certainly has distinguished himself today. He's had to make too many tackles, and that's been part of the problems for the defensive unit of Seattle all year.
Well, when your leading tackler is your free safety, you're not getting the job done up front. It's a credit to this man. He's hard-nosed. He plays a great game of free safety against the pass and run as well. But that's not the kind of stats you want to have if you're a defensive coordinator like Tom Catlin.
It is a first down at the 38. This drive starting back at the 3. Supercharged out to the 32, maybe the 31. He's very open about his background. He grew up in a tough area, Fresno, California. His best buddy in high school, they were in a gang. He admits to that, and he's trying to tell something to the young people of this world. One day he went to see his best friend. He'd been shot 19 times and had been stabbed as well, was dead. He said, I might have that night have been with him. He said, that's the night that I decided I'd rather not lead that kind of life. Athletics took over, and here he is as a prominent rookie on this Cincinnati team. Boomer throws it away. Woods, by the way, has 100 yards rushing now.
Tempers beginning to flare a little bit on the field. Jeff Bryant, number 77, knocked down by Anthony Munoz. Bruce Reimers there as well. Reimers, you might remember, injured in that last game as well. Went out of the locker room after the game against Washington on crutches, but has performed admirably here today.
Green gives away about 25 pounds to Munoz. Bryant, that is. There he goes again. Stanley Wilson. One thing about this offense designed by Sam White. He really mixes his material well. They all contribute. Everyone feels a part of it. 19 yards for Wilson, who gets the handshake.
You have to admire his feeling for this team. He was out there warming up before the game, running wind sprints with them, stretching with them. As emotionally involved a coach as you will find anywhere.
Esiason calling out the play. A quick huddle. Woods. Oh! Just as he was breaking clear around that left corner, tripped up.
Paul Moyer, number 21, the man who was there to grab him by the toe. It looked like a huge open space. Watch number 21. A little counterplay as Ickey Woods goes inside and figures he can go all the way to the backside. Now, Moyer, 21. He's already been cut down, and all he can get, again, is that shoelace, but it was enough.
A gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Brooks stopped for a moment. Moyer gets him as well for a loss back at the 11. Bruce Schultz was the man who stopped him initially and forced him to redirect his route. And the field goal. No, they're booing now because there is another Seahawk down. This is Ken Clark, who is substituted for Joe Nash. Leading 21-0 and apparently going for more. Weiss not quite so upset by the ploy. Innovative Sam White with his quicker no-huddle offense. Chuck Knox with his trick knee defense. Do you think that's really what he's doing?
There's no question in my mind that's what's going on. And all the coaches around the league are looking for a way to get their substitutes on the field and looking at the rule book saying, what can we do to counter this? Well, I think that's what's been found here today. It's the trick knee defense, and it has allowed them to make their substitution at key points during the game.
3rd down and long for Esiason to Brooks. Wyman gets him inside the 5, and Brooks is to the 3. That'll be, I believe, a yard shy of a first down. The fans are telling Whites what they want.
Dick, it's a shame that the rest of Seattle's defense has not worked as well as the trick knee. They have not been able to slow down these running backs and wide receivers. They have not been able to get pressure on Boomer Esiason, and the yardage differential continues to grow.
They need to get just to the 1 for a first down, so it's 4th and a short 2. Wilson behind Esiason. Ickey. Going to be close.
Very, very close.
Final seconds of the 3rd quarter.
Weich's philosophy in these 4th down situations, and he has gone for it repeatedly during the year.
8 for 11, a remarkable statistic because almost all of those were in field goal range. They've gone for it.
Well, and he said very simply, look, if we can convert on 50%, 60%, we get a lot more points than we would otherwise. And he said our average is a heck of a lot higher than that.
Like the three-point shot in basketball. You don't have to hit 50%. If you're at 40%, that in essence is a 60% shot because of the extra point. He says, hey, let's go for the, and they've gotten touchdowns. They don't get the first down this time.
This one backfires, but look at the field position that it leaves the Seattle Seahawks in.
So they stop them on downs. It'll be interesting now. You know that Jerry Glanville of the Houston Oilers, Marv Levy, fine coach of the Buffalo Bills, they're up there watching this game, perhaps watching, or their assistant coaches saying, maybe one of us going to be playing here in Cincinnati, it appears, next weekend.
Well, they want somebody. I know who Cincinnati would like to have. We'll talk about that.
We'll be here, or at wherever the site may be. Seattle has a quarter to go. For Williams, a gain of a few out to the 6-yard line, and that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter here in Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. 21-0 Bengals. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Excitement of the playoffs will continue tomorrow on NBC, 12 o'clock for NFL Live. Houston and Buffalo. We go to the fourth quarter in Cincinnati. 21-0 Bengals. The Seahawks pinned deep in their own end. Second down and 6. Krieg has a man open, Blades, and a first down at the 30. Wilcox made the tackle. Brian Blades
made a fine adjustment, tutored by Steve Largent. One of Largent's cuts on that play. Hell, the stats monstrously in favor of the Bengals. Look at that time of possession. Oof.
And that's with that so-called fast huddle. Or
I tell you, well,
not so. We've talked about that. Krieg to Clark to Wilcox, intercepted Cincinnati, and now Fulcher has it. Or did they blow it dead? Yes, they did blow it dead back downfield. That ball ricocheting around the defense, and Solomon Wilcox and David oh my, Joe Kelly.
That may get you out of the ball game.
That
Joe
should
Kelly.
at least be a flag. That has been thrown yet. He's one of the emotional guys on that Bengal defense.
Somebody going out to get him. Let's look at the play as the ball bounced off several of the Bengals. Wilcox there, Billups there. The ball inside to Clark. Bounces out of Clark's hand, tapped, and that's legal. Tapped a second time by Billups. And Wilcox right there to scoop it up. Now watch, Fulcher takes it out of Wilcox's hands and heads upfield. But the play had already been blown dead. And looking at it from the opposite side of the field, you see the tap. Boy, that's a tap drill at its best.
Meantime, the officials right on the spot with that Kelly forearm to the face mask, and no penalties were thrown.
What surprises me, there should have been a penalty on that one.
Third turnover against Seattle to 1. Wilcox officially credited with the interception. James Brooks. There's Eugene Robinson once again. Final quarter. Seahawks battling a 21-point deficit, and that electronic timing monster as their season ticks away. And the Bengals showing why they had a share of the best record in football at 12-4, and were the top offense in the league. Esiason fumbles, and Seattle recovers at the 32-yard line. Joe Trickney Nash comes up with it. Well, the second time the Seahawks have recovered a fumble in Cincinnati territory. They fumbled it right back, you'll recall, in the first half when they had that chance after the muff of the punt. And we'll see if they can capitalize now. 13:24 to go.
There's still a lot of time on this clock, but not a lot of time if this Seattle offense can't get itself in gear and get some points on the board. Alonzo Mitz coming in from the backside, but it looked like Jacob Green possibly coming across from the right side, who got a piece of that football.
And Wyman and Green pinched him and forced the ball free. Green credited with the recovery. Or Nash with the recovery. Green credited with the sack. Underneath, Blades slicing his way through the defense to the 14-yard line. $17 yards first down. 4 catches, 70 yards for the rookie.
This young man has done everything they have asked him to do. Quick crossing pattern. Time to throw it. Beautifully thrown right there in the gaps between the zones, actually in front of the linebackers who dropped deep. And at this point, I'm sure Cincinnati's saying, everything in front. Keep them in front of you. Don't give them the long play. Eat the clock.
Tight end. Spagnuolo, the former Yale star and Philadelphia Eagle tight end. Caught more than 60 a couple of times with Philly. His first catch today. Phillips and Emmanuel King on the tackle. 7-yard line, where it is 2nd and 3. A front walk for the head coach of the Bengals. Draw to Williams, and the fullback is smothered by Fulcher. And also in on the play was Carl Zander. Tarzander, as they call him here.
Well, they've got Tarzander's sign on the far side and Fulcher's vulture sitting here somewhere, and he did pounce much like a vulture on John L. Williams.
No gain.
There, Fulcher's vulture standing in behind. Boy, he has pounced on some folks today, hasn't he?
Incomplete. Out of the hands of Brian Blades. It may have been deflected by Thomas. Blades was stung by a ball the last time Seattle tried to score, went through a defender's hands and caromed off his. Let's see if that's what happened this time. Eric Thomas on the coverage.
They're going to try and pick it up. It's 4th and 3. The last time they gambled, they were shut down.
They're 0 for 2. Inside the 10. This is their 3rd chance. Cecil knocked on his back. Completed pass and touchdown to John L. Williams. Boy, noise level dropped. It almost hurt your ears.
The silence here, didn't it? Well, and finally something for Seattle's offense to cheer about. Long drought this day. Missed opportunities. Craig back. Throwing out of there to John L. Williams, who has been so effective as a pass leader on this team, and effective today in catching the pass. Gets it into the end zone. And David Fulcher limping off the field by one of the trainers as he heads to the sideline. Boy, that's one thing you don't want to see. Already stung by injury in the offensive line as Joe Waller went down. They don't want to lose Fulcher. He's such an important part of that defense.
And I know you're wondering how much time is left, especially you fans up in the great Northwest. 11 minutes and 40 seconds to go as Johnson tries to make it 21-7. Johnson has the extra point, and with it a timeout. Let's take another look at John L. Williams' reception. The big fullback who had 3 touchdowns in his 58 catches during the regular season. Big guy with soft hands and then the power to drive through Fulcher. Oh, man, that's Fulcher really pinned back on the force of Williams' dive to the end zone.
If you're a business person and you're making a long-distance call, to call your customer, to call your supplier, before you hit that 11th digit, we've mapped out that entire call across the network, irrespective of where you're calling. You got 21.
1 AA national champions. They beat Georgia Southern. Quite a game. And one of the men proud to be a grad of Furman, Sam Whites, is sorry he won't be part of the fun next week. He thinks he's going to be busy.
Justifiable pride.
I guess we can all identify with that. We never lose our feelings for Alma Mammy. Seattle defense will have to do something they have not done well all day. Stop Ickey, Woods, and Boomer in the offense of the Bengals. Now Jacob Green applies the first touch. Little or no gain on that carry by Ickey Woods.
Trying to stack those backs up and strip at that football. Trying to take it away. Something that this Seattle Seahawks defense has done effectively over the years. But watch what they do here to Ickey Woods. They're not trying to knock him down. They're trying to stand him up. Jacob Green got the first one there, trying to hold him up. Listen to this one.
They have not done well all day. Stop Ickey Woods and Boomer in the the Bengals. Ooh, they really trying?
That hurts.
Second down. It's Brooks. He's pinned after crossing the 25-yard line. It'll be third and 6 or 7. Here's a big play for the Seattle defense.
And we have an injury. Surprise, surprise.
And with that injury, 3 defenders come on the field for Seattle. Well, White is yelling across the field at the Seattle coaching staff. Earlier, we thought we saw Knox with a long-distance rebuttal. You play your game, I'll play mine. 10:19 to go. Timeout. Contest. Edmonds bobbles at the 24, 30, and down at the 31. Timeout. 9 minutes, 38 seconds left. That may be all that's left in the season for one of these two teams. The Bengals play a couple of touchdowns.
I bought this Van Heusen for Michael. I think he's going to have a tough time getting it back.
Van Heusen, for a man to wear and a woman to borrow.
Oh, no matter what you do, trust that I'll be there for you. You can depend on me, yeah. Feel the power of a friend. Know that time and time again. You can depend on me.
New improved Kodak batteries last longer than ever. So when you need us, we'll be there.
You can depend on me.
New Kodak batteries. Depend on us to last longer.
.177 horses give Comanche so much power, but it's the name Jeep that gives it so much pull.
Save up to $1,700 on select 1989 Jeep Comanches.
You know, it was great growing up on our ranch in Oklahoma. And now when I walk into a New York City restaurant and order up a little bitty Kansas City strip, makes me feel right at home.
I've got a taste for some real food.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve.
Well, it's a tough ticket here in Cincinnati, and talk about an expensive chance to see a football. Fiesta Bowl on Monday. We'll be down at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl, West Virginia, Notre Dame for the national title. Oh, I wish I had about 8 on the 50.
Boy, they tell me that that's the toughest ticket in years for a bowl game, and I can understand why after having a chance to see West Virginia and Notre Dame and their preparation for this game.
Oh, that should be a great one. We'll hope you'll be with us for our triple header on January 2nd. Now it's Seattle. Perhaps building momentum. They've broken the ice, and now Kurt Warner dashes out to the 39, a gain of 8. Reggie Williams drags him down.
Warner's first effective run of the day.
This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. We'll give you that later. No huddle being used by... And Craig points to the defense, and then flags fly. Let's go on then with business. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League is prohibited.
5 yards, first down.
This game is the property of the National Football League, Seattle and Cincinnati, all rights reserved.
Joe Kelly called for delay of game. Now, did that mean they had 12 men on the field? Did Seattle catch them on their own game there with a quick huddle? And
there might be a different interpretation there. Perhaps they were doing something verbally to delay the game.
Well, they're not allowed to call signals, and if they try and bark signals in there, they can also be ticketed for a penalty.
9 minutes to go. 21-7 Cincinnati. A game that's become interesting suddenly after the Bengals had dominated throughout. Oh, Williams wide open, but under pressure from Jim Scow. Craig overshot his target. Oh, what a story this guy is, Craig, from Milton College, the NAIA. You've all heard it. But a man who certainly was the longest of long shots to make it as a legitimate quarterback star in the NFL.
I think one of the things that has hurt Dave Krieg over the years is the fact that he wasn't drafted, and it hurts his confidence at times. But he is as hot as any quarterback in football when he has things cooking.
And he is the leader of this team. Oh, incomplete. And that one a little off the mark as well to Lewis Clark. But normally that'd be Steve Largent out there. Largent, his ace receiver, all time in catches with 791 injured in the game and not in there in this critical part of the season.
Talking about Dave Krieg, we have to ask the question, would the Cincinnati Bengals be hosting this game if they had lost their quarterback, Esiason, for 7 games during this season?
Largent with 790 more catches than Clark, who has 1. Crowd on 3rd and 10 on its feet. Krieg got out of there and completes to Paul Scansey. First down at the 45. They got 11. And Scansey, who has made more than 50% of his career catches on 3rd down, gets another one. He was a star at Washington. Stayed right at home to play Pro Bowl after being drafted by Pittsburgh. And then Seattle took him from the Steelers on waivers.
Tim Crumry coming all the way around, gets pressure on Krieg, who steps out of there. And Scansey, like Blades, trained so carefully by Steve Largent, trying to copy the master's moves day in and day out, and he's done a pretty good job of it.
Warner on the sweep. Well done by Wilcox on the corner to deny him any good yardage. A gain of 2 at best. Solomon Wilcox, who played at Colorado. Bright guy, majored in English literature. Down deep for Blades. He's got it at the 10-yard line. What a throw and catch, and a flag goes down.
I think there's a penalty at both ends. The Cincinnati defense had 12 men on the field. Has this?
No, but it's against Seattle.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Well, there are 12 men on the field anyway. They'll be negating penalties, I would imagine.
Yeah, but Knox wanted more than that. He wanted the catch.
What happened?
He said they had 12 men on the field. He read it the same way you did, Merlin.
Well, that's the first flag that's upfield, but the second flag downfield, something entirely different. Seattle calls that their speed series. They've actually gone without a huddle in 2 earlier games.
Brett Cashin.
12 men on the defense. Pass interference. Number 24 on the defense. Illegal motion. Number 70 on the offense. They offset.
All 3 of them. Boy, I tell you,
5-yard penalty against the offense negates 2 Cincinnati penalties.
Let's go back and take a peek at that great catch by Blades. And it's a shame you don't have a chance to work out those penalties so you can get something out of this play. That's a tremendous. There's the bump right there. Ooh, big hit on that play by Barney Bussey, number 27. But it all goes for naught. It's back to 2nd and 9.
Open downfield. Ray Butler, and the veteran has a first down at the 17. And Krieg, who has been brilliant the last 2 games in the victories over Denver and the Raiders, showing that same kind of hot hand.
And although Seattle's defense has given up an awful lot of yardage in this second half, that score has stayed the same throughout the second half. And now Seattle, if they can pop this one into the end zone, a touchdown away from tying this ball game.
Well, they're not all Cincinnati fans. 32 yards on that last play. Butler was so wide open, even slowing down, he was able to make the catch. Krieg underneath to Williams, and the big guy is down to the 2-yard line.
He may well have a first down.
They'll check the yardsticks. And now suddenly it gets a little nervous in Riverfront Stadium.
Well,
they will measure.
Turnabout is fair play. Sam Weich's attack offense has put Knox and his staff in a corner. They've come back with some answers for him. Here's that last quick pass, and look at the power of John L. Williams. One tackler, two tackler. Boy, look how much yardage he gained after they grabbed a hold of him.
Took it inside the two. They'll stretch out the chains. Remember that measurement earlier today in Chicago where Jim Tunney took out looked like one of his credit cards there to see whether or not there was any distance.
Well, this one was not nearly as close.
And you know those officials, they got those big golden ones, those credit cards. First and goal for Seattle. Warner into a pile, can't get in. Ran up the backs of his blockers, and unlike that Cincinnati line that has consistently given the rushers for the Bengals a couple yards before they make contact, the Bengal defense has really been in an even match with the Seattle offense.
The Seahawks have done something they hope to do here in the second half. They've quieted this crowd down.
They need to score on this possession, however, with that clock down near 6 minutes. Krieg will run it in. Touchdown. Dave Krieg officially 1 yard on the scramble. And it's 21-13.
Krieg wanted to go to the outside. Had a receiver out there, but no one open. He'll do it all himself.
Steve Largent, injured, is not seriously injured enough. He will hold for Norm Johnson. No good. He missed it. Oh, my. And one wonders whether or not Largent, not healthy, was able to give him a good spot.
Maybe we can take a look at that again.
What a heartbreaking miss for the Seahawks.
Steve Largent with a back injury, out to do what he has done for Norm Johnson all year. And you hate to change the battery. Let's take a peek at it.
Now the spot was fine. Johnson just missed it.
Well, Johnson has his own back problems. Has been kicking with a sciatic problem. I know there are a couple of guys with bad backs trying to get it up between the uprights.
That's the same end that Lohmiller of the Redskins hit the upright and missed. And you talk about that's the trap in the jungle down there. That's the.
You think somebody put a curse on those goalposts down there?
Those are Bengal posts. So Norm Johnson, after the Seahawks trying to muster what would have been a remarkable comeback and get them within a touchdown to tie, now they need 2 scores. 21-13, a missed extra point.
Another opportunity to look at that touchdown. Good block on this side by Big Mike Wilson, number 75, who pancaked Jim Scow, number 70, put him right on the ground.
Krieg diving into the end zone, and Norm Johnson, who had not missed extra point all year, counting the first one today, had made 40 in a row, misses perhaps the biggest point after of his kicking line. Going back deep, and now it's Brooks who goes back to the 3. James Brooks out to the 32. Good return. Dwayne Harper, rookie, makes the tackle. The Bengals in the second half with a 21-0 lead, understandably not taking any big chances. Punt took over and downs. That was the time they had 15 plays, went down to the 3-yard line of Seattle and was stopped on 4th and goal. A fumble and a punt. 21-13. 5:54 to go, and this is where a long, time-consuming ground game approach would be the answer for Cincinnati. Ickey Woods to the 30-yard line.
We've seen some interesting misuse, if you will, of the rules of the rule book today. And people feel that Sam White stretches the rules with his attack offense, and we've seen what appear to be some interesting injuries today. Gotta wonder what Don Shula, who's on the rules committee, would have to say about that. Maybe we can get somebody to get a chance to talk to him about that. I'd like to know what he has to say about it.
Well, in the postgame show, chain him down. Put that seatbelt on him, Bob Costas. I'd like to hear what Coach Shula thinks about all this. Play action, Esiason. Ooh, through the hands of Holman. Paul Moyer might have blocked the side of Holman. He was in front of the play, and it just slipped out of the big tight end's mitts.
Well, and there goes an injury.
Oh, Joe Nash. No, it's Ken Clark. The designated position. It's the nose tackle. Nash and Clark, it must be the position, have been hit with these rash of injuries, trick knees.
Sam has begun to accept it now.
And you look over at Chuck Knox and those baby blue eyes of his, he just looks so innocent.
Well, this is 8th grade Sewickley, as Chuck would say. You meet a problem, you deal with it, you find a solution to it. And they have found a rather interesting solution to getting their defense on and off the field.
Well, while they attend to Joe Nash's knee, and who knows, he may be hurt. Let's go to NFL Live in New York, and here's Don Shula.
All right, Dick, along with Bob Costas, and in fact, Joe Nash might have a legitimate injury, but suppose he doesn't. Don Shula, of course, for many years, one of the leading individuals on the Rules Committee. Suppose this is a fake situation, and that's what the officials diagnose. Are they able to invoke some kind of rule to take care of this?
Certainly, they could invoke unsportsmanlike conduct. If they recognize that this is happening and it's a fake and there's no real injury there, then they can, first of all, warn the player, warn the bench, go over and warn Chuck Knox that they're going to throw the flag, and if it continues to happen, they can throw the flag, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Meanwhile, there's nothing illegal about the quick huddle offense or no huddle offense used by the Bengals.
That's perfectly legal. There's nothing that says in the book that you have to huddle up, and that's part of the 2-minute offense. They can use it during the course of the ball game. It's the responsibility of Seattle to match up to it.
Meanwhile, as the coach, you've got to at least respect the resourcefulness employed thus far by Chuck Knox, because until they stop him from doing it, why not try it?
Well, first of all, you have to do things that are within the rules, and I think that everybody would say that this is outside of the rules, telling somebody to fake an injury, and I think it makes a farce out of the game.
Of course, what may happen next is that a doctor's note, just like one that gets you out of school, a doctor's note may be produced tomorrow by the Seattle physician, which shows us that Joe Nash was in fact hurt. Let's go back to Riverfront.
All right, Rodriguez to punt as Seattle successfully stops the Bengals, and also with the incomplete pass, stop the clock. Just under 5 minutes to go as Edmonds at his 30 slips at the 33-yard line. The other difficult part for the officials, about the time you call unsportsmanlike and somebody really has a serious knee injury, then what do you do? I mean, they aren't acting it out totally, because Clark and Nash, every time they've gone off the field, have walked off showing no limp, no outward indication that there's been any serious injury, and indeed they each have come back to play. Well, apparently healthy and raring to go are Warren Moon and Jim Kelly, and the Oilers and the Bills. You'll see them tomorrow at 12 noon. The winner of that game to play the winner of this one. 21-13, but for a missed extra point, this could be mighty interesting. Krieg to Williams, unable to puck it away at the 48-yard line.
Conversation on the sideline, I'm sure, that deals with that missed kick. And I'm sure a great deal of pain in both of those hearts right at this moment.
John L. Williams, as the Seattle Seahawks have been unable to run the football, has caught 9 passes for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. 2nd and 10. The rush is on, and Krieg unable to get it to Blades. He had to hurry. Good pressure from Jim Scow, who led the Bengals in sacks this year with 9.5. He's in his 3rd year from Nebraska. He'll be rooting for his Huskers on Monday night in the Orange Bowl against Miami.
At a time when many of the big men in the game pick up weight He's fighting to stay at 245. He's got to be one of the smallest defensive ends in the league.
Yeah, listen to that crowd. 3rd and 10 for Seattle. Butler again, and the veteran Butler with the injury to Largent. Now they're going to call it a late call out of bounds.
I think what they're saying is he didn't get 2 feet down over there, Dick.
And Steve Largent, who is usually mild-mannered, didn't agree.
Let's see if he does get 2 feet down.
1. Nope, he did not. Good call.
Good call by the officials.
And they didn't need instant replay to call it. They called it right on the spot. So 4th and 10, 4:28 to go. And with, you can see White saying, hey, the Seahawks need 2 scores. They may not be punting. So be alert. They're not going to rush the punter here. They're going to play for a possible fake.
Now they just keep the defensive team on the field and say you just assume that they're going to do something besides kick the ball.
Seattle, meanwhile, calls time. They're not going to punt. They're going to go for it. See now what happened. Rodriguez was sent in, and Craig, reluctant, stayed in the huddle. They had to call time. Craig couldn't believe that Knox wasn't going to go for it on 4th and 10. And indeed, as they had a chance to think it over here now, well, it's really playing tough odds if you think you're going to get the ball back twice.
Well, especially with the way the Bengals have been able to run the ball, although here late in the 4th quarter, Seattle's defense has come to life some.
Well, led by Craig's passing. He's 20 for 40, 228 yards. And even though at times, when you think back, the game seems so lopsided Cincinnati, the Seattle fans can look back and say, a missed extra point. Twice we were inside the 10, couldn't score. The old what ifs. Apparently, and indeed, Rodriguez does punt it away. There's Canachillery, and he clutches this one at the 27-28-yard line. New Year's Eve, and we hope you'll celebrate with us on NBC. The 55th annual King Orange Jamboree Parade from Miami, Florida. Golden Girls, one of the great hits of television. Empty Nest. Hunter, your old defensive end buddy, Fred Dreyer. So celebrate with us tonight on the Peacock. And don't forget, get up early out there in the West Coast. We start at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Buffalo hosts Houston, 12 o'clock Eastern time.
Craig obviously upset that they didn't have a chance to go for it on 4th down. He's still angry on the sideline.
Ickey was to the outside and out of bounds. That's the one thing he did wrong, going out of bounds. Stops the clock at the 48-yard line. 20 more for Woods, who's 120 plus. 123 officially, says Joe Costanza, our statistician.
Ken Clark, number 67, trying to get over to close that down, but they just, again, rip a hole, and Ryan Blados doing a good job. That's Joe Walder's number on the side of Boomer Esiason's helmet.
That's a nice touch, isn't it? Those are the little things that leaders do not go unnoticed. Here's Esiason, the NFL's most valuable player, saying something to Joe Walder, the starting offensive tackle who's had serious knee surgery, watching today in a Cincinnati hospital, saying, hey, you're part of me, buddy. And that has a ripple that goes all through that offensive line and the team.
Now, this is one of those gut-level working man kind of quarterbacks. He fits in with that offensive line, and they are a real family.
3:23, 3:22, 3:21, and Bengals will let that clock run. 2nd down and 8. Woods again, short of the 1st down.
Dick, it would appear that this game will join an unhappy statistic for Seattle. Over the past 3 years, they're 1-5 in games where the temperature is below 40 degrees. And in their history, they've lost 10 and won 4 when the temperature has dropped down. There's no question in my mind a hothouse team from a warm climate or an indoor stadium is really at a disadvantage when they come to the cold part of the country this time of year.
You speak from personal experience.
I speak from painful and very cold experience in some of those games myself.
3 minutes and a second left as Seattle has spent their second timeout with a third down and about 4 to go. Well, as it's now become a well-known musical lyric, the road goes through, and in the case of the AFC, it goes through here. Cincinnati, the Bengals earning home field throughout, beating Buffalo during the regular season. So if they win today, it'll either be Houston or Buffalo here a week from tomorrow.
The Houston Oilers, the only team to really trounce the Cincinnati Bengal team, and they would love to get Houston back in here. And they said and have them bring their lips as well. They didn't like what was said after the game down there in the House of Pain.
Third down, it's Brooks. Inside the 35, he'll be short of the first down. Veteran Vernon Dean, 31, made the tackle.
And now what do you do if you're Sam White? Going to be 4th and short. Do you kick the ball away, give it to Seattle here, or do you run with it?
Well, he appears to be pondering just that. Seattle will give him some time to think it over as they have called their final timeout. Stop the clock at 2:55, and you can feel it now that it is nighttime after 7 in Cincinnati. The temperature dipping down into the 30s.
Well, I know that owner Ken Behring, the new owner in Seattle, who's been so pleased with the late season surge of these Seahawks, was hoping to add something. He's got a great collection of antique cars. I think he was hoping to add a Super Bowl trophy. It doesn't look like it'll be this year, but he has to be proud of the gameness, if you will, of this Seattle Seahawk team.
Yeah, the extra point, not only the miss to alleviate points to what that did emotionally to a team that was really building on some momentum, was so destructive. There's Ken Behring. Has something like $100 million in antique cars. He's developing a museum, and those can be shared by the public, and they will become gifts, I guess, to the public. Here comes Johnson's been on the field to punt, and boy, is he going to put Seattle as deep in the hole as you can get. Almost to the 1-yard line. Lee Johnson, who was drafted by Houston, kicked for them a couple years, then at Cleveland, acquired this year by Cincinnati. He's making the tour of the AFC Central.
Well, a knock against Johnson was that he was inconsistent as a punter. He certainly has had a fine day here today.
No timeouts left for Seattle. 98 yards to go. And 8 points down. Lewis Clark, the closest Seattle Seahawk to that ball.
Now this crowd keeping the pressure on Seattle's offense. Some places they wave those terrible towels. Here they've got the terrible horns. And they really do raise a lot of noise with them.
That expression, between a rock and a hard place, Craig, is between some Bengals and a jungle.
Boy, I'll tell you.
That was an incomplete pass. His arm was going forward. And that's the signal given by referee Red Cashin.
I think it's right off someone's helmet. There's no question that that was a forward pass. Craig delivers the ball right here. Short arms it a little bit. Right off Brian Millard's helmet, number 71. And, of course, you catch that football. It's a live football. But no one touched it till it came off the ground. Brian Millard said, wait a minute, who's hitting me in the back of the head?
There have been times, as you know, in summer camps where some rookies have had a quarterback throw in their back.
They're saying they can't hear down there, I think. Well, what's new? It's been that way most all day.
Place certainly looks bigger than 55,000, doesn't it? Home of the Cincinnati Reds and the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a great major league city, Cincinnati, Ohio.
And interesting to me, Dick, this crowd that's been so much a part of this game. And I think one of the things that's happened in professional football over the past few years is that crowds have become more sophisticated in knowing how they can help their teams, in knowing how much they can intimidate a quarterback and an offense by making it almost impossible for them to get their signals called and their audibles called.
Well, and how about coaches becoming more in tune with that? Can you imagine in your day, your head coach, as Sam White just done today, turning to the crowd, waving his hand, saying, "Come on, crowd, let's get going." That didn't happen.
It's a reality.
3rd and 10. In the hole. Krieg does get it out to the 9 to Clark, short of the first down, smothered there by Thomas and Kelly. It'll be 4th down and 2.
They may not be able to get this off before the 2-minute warning.
2:09. They're not saving that much by hurrying, but they get the first down to Blades out at the 18. And well, there goes the 2-minute ticker. They did save themselves a play. Well, there's the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes to go. And the Seahawks looking for a big miracle.
What dry was.
With our director, Ted Nathanson, our producer, Larry Cirillo, Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, final 2 minutes. 21-13 Cincinnati. No timeouts left for the Seahawks. We have a first down at their 18. To the sidelines, and John L. Williams snares another. Boy, what nice hands he has, and that was a well-executed pass play, good for 16.
In this kind of game, your players with extraordinary ability have to come through with big plays. Well, John L. has done his part today. He just hasn't had enough company.
10 catches, 100 yards for Williams today in receptions. The key, though, to the game has been Cincinnati did not allow Seattle to run. Unless backwards. Seattle fighting to get back over the ball. They have no timeouts left, and of course Cincinnati's going to straggle back. They want to let that clock tick away.
Now you work at controlling the ball, and you can do it legally.
Flag down. That'll be against Seattle, and that'll negate that reception by Blades. It appeared left tackle Ron Mattis pulled back before the snap, and the noise may have been a helpful cause. There it is, illegal motion. For Seattle today, it wasn't until the second half till the grade started to rise.
70 on the offense.
Ron Mattis indeed just
Still second down.
victimized by the noise machine here in the jungle. 50% thrower was Krieg, and that's quite good considering how it all started. Intercepted twice, 1 touchdown. Warner only 11 yards rushing. Williams, again the star. He led the team in receptions during the year. Had 10 today. Esiason only threw 19 times.
Well, when you're running that effectively, when you're running the ball that well, you don't have to throw the football much.
Best rushing team in the league. Krieg got away and throws for Williams, who makes a one-handed catch and spins down to the 45. The clock will run. Couldn't get out of bounds, or didn't elect to. And Krieg hustling his team like a man trying to herd his cattle.
What a great catch. Boy, I'll tell you, those big hands of John L. just cradling that football as he spun around.
11th catch of the day. This one is thrown over the head of Butler. Stops the clock with 1:04. Wilcox and Dixon on the coverage, and there's Norm Johnson. And in a way, kind of an ugly sort of thought, it would almost be a shame if the final score of this game was 21-20. I say that from a Seattle perspective. For you Cincinnati fans, hey, apparently this is going to be your night to celebrate. Having to work the sidelines, and of course the Bengals defense playing it that way makes it all the tougher.
Dick, your comment about Norm Johnson, appropriate, I think, but this is a Seattle team, and it's part of Knox's philosophy that wins and loses together. You won't see fingers pointed at Norm Johnson. You won't hear them say, gee, if Largent had been able to get a better hold on that ball. There have been so many opportunities for this team today for so many people to do things that have not been done that I'm sure Knox will be saying very succinctly, we lost this football game together.
And let's hope we see Largent again. What a thrilling player he's been. Williams almost makes another acrobatic play. And now we're to 4th down, Seattle. 4th and 10. Oh, almost made a one-handed stab. Along with Messrs. Nathanson and Cirillo downstairs and their crew up here. Schwarber, Kidd, Bendesky, Lambert, Costanza, thanks for your help. Bill Olson helping Merlin and keeping an eye on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Fourth and 10. And that'll be it for Cincinnati. Now they can truly celebrate. Sam White's finally earned his stripes. Almost fired. They said he was working on a 7-day contract this year. They started off 6-0, and folks started to believe. And now the Bengals are down to the Final Four and will host the AFC Championship. And a man we'll look forward to seeing again is our Budweiser Most Valuable Player today, rookie Ickey Woods. He can dance. He can even lead the orchestra. And Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of the MVPs selected this weekend.
From Buggles to Bengals in a single year, and that's a big jump.
We understand now it's been decided by the NFL office. The championship game will be held here at 12:30, and the late game will be in Chicago next week. Paul Brown. He is one victory away from a Super Bowl, and Steve Largent, who courageously came on to hold the greatest pass receiver in the history of the game statistically. Sad sight.
There was no handshake by the coaches after the game. Maybe that's appropriate with the kind of information and looks going back and forth across the field.
And I'm anxious. We're going to get Boomer Esiason. Don't wander away. We're going to ask Boomer Esiason the feeling of the Bengals about the ploy used apparently by Seattle in using the trick knee. 21-13 the final. We'll be right back. Doesn't get you, but your players fooled you at the end.
I know it. I knew they were going to get me with the water right after the game, and I looked around as soon as it started to tick down. I turned left, and the sucker came up from the right.
All right, on a more serious note, the fact that your opposing coach today, Chuck Knox, took away your quick huddle?
Well, you know, I'm not sure I agree with that one. He did take it away. I'm not sure I agree with the tactics. Maybe something will be reviewed on that one. But obviously, when a player gets hurt only on third down the entire football game, that's their tactic. But we've got a pretty good no-huddle offense. They had a pretty good way to stop it, and I guess it worked today for them.
Well, we'll let you get back in the locker room with your team and dry off, and we'll talk with Boomer. Congratulations on a great year. And to you, most valuable player.
Will she or won't she? Player number one's brother tells you to take the card. Joyce Powell lives in Norwood and purchased her lucky ticket from a former contestant. We hear the world's best pizza maker lives in Windsor, Ohio. Dorothy Williams wants to open a...
If the Steelers could pull it off again. Treadwell, the Pro Bowl kicker, skids one low. Rod Woodson lets it go into the end zone. The Pro Bowler for kick return adroitness. Woodson won't get a chance on that one. Here comes Bubby Brister, the highest paid Steeler in their history, and his line protecting Jackson, Reenstra, Dawson, Long. Tunch Ilkin is on his way to the Pro Bowl, the smallest tackle in the league. Merrill Hodge and Tim Worley are behind Brister, the runners. They're big and strong. Hill and Lips are the wide receivers with Malarkey, the tight end. When they go to their third down passing game, those men go out, and Dwight Stone, a speedster, and Mark Stock come in. From the 20-yard line, Brister, who played at Northeast Louisiana. Lips in motion. Tim Worley, the #1 draft pick out of Georgia, earns a tough yard into the Bronco orange. Michael Brooks spearheaded the charge, and here are the Broncos defensively. Their base defense has Carricker, Craig and Holmes on the front three. Brooks, Munford, Mecklenburg on the way to another Pro Bowl, and Simon Fletcher, he leads in sacks. Braxton Henderson, 2 new cornerbacks this year. Dennis Smith, a Pro Bowler, and the outstanding rookie from Arkansas, Steve Atwater, the other safety. Those two safeties hit with anyone. Into the eyes of Mecklenburg. Second down, 8. Brister to Worley again. He vaults to the 25, but it'll be third down and a short 5 for a first down. Here comes Mark Stock, a third wide receiver in for the Steelers. He's from the round draft pick. And for the Broncos now, they come with the extra
They're not a great conversion team. They haven't been all year. But we get a chance to look at an out pattern. Brister can throw the ball. We break straight up the field, sharply to the outside. The ball had a lot on it. And watching Brister warm up, I was really impressed. The first time I've seen him all year. Good, sharp, quick arm, quick feet. His problem will be he telegraphs his throws some, and also he has a little trouble sorting people out, so consequently his throws are a little late.
A big first down for the Steelers, who didn't want to start in the hole. Here comes Worley, and he runs through tackles to the 45-yard line and a gain of 8.
Well, that is the power play. They call it 16 power. That play's been in existence since all the way back to the Paul Brown days. It's